You can save every day by shopping at Whole Foods Market. Seriously. Don't just go for the big sales. Walk the store and see the savings for yourself. In the seafood department, look for the yellow low price sign on Whole Foods Market Responsibly Farmed salmon. This fish is perfect for the grill. Buttery, fatty, yet lean, nice thick fillets. I'm getting hungry just thinking about it, and I know I can get it at a great price. There's so many ways to save at Whole Foods Market. Now you know. You can save every day by shopping at Whole Foods Market. Seriously. Don't just go for the big sales. Walk the store and see the savings for yourself. In the seafood department, look for the yellow low price sign on Whole Foods Market Responsibly Farmed salmon. This fish is perfect for the grill. Buttery, fatty, yet lean, nice thick fillets. I'm getting hungry just thinking about it, and I know I can get it at a great price. There's so many ways to save at Whole Foods Market. Now you know.
Okay, everybody, welcome to the latest episode of All Too Real 2. My name is Michael E. Cullen II, and with me, as always, is...
Sesame hierarchies are, well, unreasonable hierarchies are bad in Carta. Sometimes hierarchies are decent, but, it depends on how, how you do it, stuff like that. But, like, some hierarchies are just really, really, really bad. Like, you just, you got one person at the top and you got one person at the bottom, and then you exploit the people on the bottom, and it's not good.
Well, I mean, the hierarchy that our country is probably going to be heading towards soon is going to be the greatest thing ever because there's hats that say "Make America Great Again."
Yeah, true.
Yes.
Those hats are going to save the universe.
Yes, but don't ever ask anybody who wears one when America was great.
It's a forbidden question. You're not allowed to.
Yeah, because it's like asking them, to translate the Bible into Aramaic or something. They look at you like, what the hell? They're.
Yeah, that's right. Jesus was American. That's why.
Yes. Had a lengthy conversation just the other day with somebody online where he just responded to something with MAGA, and I was just like, so when was America great? And we went back and forth and everything, and then he started trying to tell me that I don't like America because I didn't agree that America was great, but he couldn't tell me when it was great.
Because we all know what they mean when they say that. He wants to say back in the 1950s when certain people were put in their place, or even before that.
Or like antebellum South or something,
right.
Yeah.
We know, they know, we know that they know that we know that they know that we know. So that's why they play that game of like, oh, look it up. And it's like, okay, how do I look up when America was great? Like what? Like what would you even find then at that point? Like,
and then, like I've often said, it's like saying "Make America Great Again" is like saying "Make the internet dial up again,"
right?
Because you're basically just going back to something worse.
Well, don't you want those slow load up times and into crashes for no apparent reason, where you just get kicked offline for no reason at all?
Yeah. Your mom picks up the phone and all of a sudden you're offline.
Exactly. Which then meant you had to get a cable modem in order to prevent the phone line being used up. Yeah, those were interesting times during the internet. For
Good
sure.
Times.
Mm-hmm.
Back when America was great.
Yeah, back when America. I don't know, objectively, 1990s were better than they are right now.
Well, for some things, I mean, gay marriage wasn't a thing.
Well, yeah, but I mean, probably won't be for very much longer here. But it's like, yeah.
Well,
but I don't know, man. I don't like in this movie where America's definitely not great for various reasons.
Yeah. So today on the show, we are covering the 2020 film entitled "When Women Rule the World." The Internet Movie Database synopsis says 4 young people get sucked into a time-bending vortex to an apocalyptic future where women rule the earth. It was directed by Sheldon Silverstein. I don't think he's related to Shel Silverstein, the the author of like Where the Sidewalk Ends and stuff.
I hope not.
It was also written by Sheldon. It stars Anna Hera as Maria Putin, Chris Gooch as John Dawson, Francisco DeCone as Michael Bray, Sandra Lagla as Susan Tolby, among a bunch of other people. But those are our 4 young people, if you want to call them young.
They
that,
I know. They look like they're in like their 30s or 40s.
I know. I'm just like, why does the description say that they were 4 young people?
They were going for it first, and then they just end up like recasting everyone, and then they just kept the synopsis. I don't know.
I don't know. It's kind of ridiculous. So yeah. What are your initial thoughts of this film?
I thought it was okay. I really do. I would probably watch this at least another time if I was like with friends and wanted to just kind of bag on a bad movie, because I kind of had some of that to it. It wasn't like one of those so bad they're bad movies where it's just boring and there's nothing going on. There was a lot of action in this movie, if you can call it action, but there kind of was, and a lot of wild characters to keep you entertained.
Yeah.
I don't know, I kind of liked it. I mean, it's not something I would watch like just for leisure, but it would be something I would watch with like a group of friends, or maybe, show some of my family members who appreciate bad art, and stuff like that. Or even watch, get high to and just watch it like that. No, that would be really fucked up. But like,
yeah, I think it might be scary.
Yeah, probably.
The movie poster is interesting as well. It's got Anna Hera on the cover wearing an outfit I don't think she ever wears in the film, but I don't know. Holding 2 decapitated heads, and one of them looks like the Michael Bray character.
Wow.
And the poster says, "Meet the first lady of the future with her heads of state," because she has these decapitated heads in her hands.
Remotely true to the story whatsoever.
None of that happens in the movie, but yeah. So yeah. Speaking of happening in the movie, what does happen in this movie?
So the plot is simultaneously very straightforward, but also very chaotic at the same time. So what do I mean by that? So we start off with Michael and Maria. Michael is like an obsessed fan of Donald Trump. He wants to be him. Like, he's even dyed his hair blonde. He wears a red hat, that looks like the MAGA hat. He's also a reality TV show producer, I think it was, or a host.
He's like a producer of a TV show. And he's got that. He reminds me of like a younger Billy Zane for some reason.
Okay,
but,
I can see. Yeah, I could totally see that in his face. And then so like, because he's so obsessed with Trump and wants to be him, he even has a Russian girlfriend called Maria Putin. Obvious reasons.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if she's supposed to be related to Putin or if that's just a coincidence.
I think it might have just been a coincidence, but they were trying to play up the whole, because Melania, she's Slovenian, not Russian, but Eastern Europe or whatever. So they're like, yeah, who cares? Just give him a Russian girlfriend or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he's really, he's really mean to her. He's kind of like the bad boyfriend type who's like emotionally abusive, but then will immediately apologize to get her to come back, and will just kind of go back and forth with her. So like, he was basically like hanging over her head that like, oh, you could be the star of my next show, but you gotta make sure that you do what I ask you to do, things like that. And so he was inviting over these other people, I guess, who work with them or something, and Susan and Jonathan. And like, I don't know, were Jonathan and Susan supposed to be like a couple? Because the way he described
No, I don't think so. I think they just both worked for him, because it didn't seem like, because she was all horny for other guys and stuff too, so I don't think they were a couple.
Right. Well, because the way he said it though, I was kind of confused. But yeah, so like, Susan is kind of like, like a macho kind of personality, throws her weight around. Jonathan's kind of like, quote unquote, a beta male, nerd or whatever type of.
Like he's kind of like a Woody Allen type of character or something. not
Yeah,
reality Woody Allen, but like a Woody Allen character from a Woody Allen movie, back
yeah.
before he was like a sleazebag. Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, I forgot about that. No, not really. You mean you talk about the guy who married his ex stepdaughter as a sleazebag? Really, Mike? Come on,
Yeah,
like
I mean,
that's
not
not
not,
that's not
not to
woke of
mention
you.
being accused of, molesting his other children too, but yeah.
That's so unwoke of you, bro.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Well, with that though, I did read some stuff that a lot of those people were coached a lot by what was it? What was her name? Mia? Not Mia.
Mia Farrow?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
I heard that like a lot of those kids were like coached by her of like what to say type of thing or something
Well,
like that. Maybe not, but
they've come out about it as adults though, so
yeah, okay, all right.
yeah.
All right.
So
Yeah, I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense. I mean, if you're willing to marry your ex stepdaughter, I mean, like, it's kind
yeah.
of, I mean,
But these are all
I
just
don't think,
accusations. Don't come at me. Don't
no, it's not
don't.
accusations. He really did marry his ex, didn't
No,
he?
no, I'm
Except,
saying I'm saying
oh,
the
okay.
the other
Okay.
stuff are all accusations. Don't come after me.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. I don't think Woody Allen's going to be listening to our podcast, but that's all right.
I mean,
And
if you
so,
are Woody Allen and you want to tell your side of the story, come on.
oh, sure, of course. Yeah. Sure, you would. Now suddenly you're like, oh, yeah, come on. No, yeah, you can totally talk to us about your
I mean,
weird
I still think
stuff.
you're a slime ball, but if you want to come on the podcast and tell your side of the slime ball story,
I just can't get over that. I know I already mentioned it twice, but I just cannot get over the idea of marrying your ex stepdaughter. I can't get over that. Like, oh, whatever. Okay, fine. Well, I'm
yeah.
just gonna leave that one aside for now because I could talk about that for like an hour and just how weird it is. But all right, so the four of them they're gonna be driving from Reno to Las Vegas, and the reason why they're driving and not flying, other than to have plot armor in order to make this movie make sense, is that his quote unquote baby, a Land Rover, which in his words cost $100,000 for a car that looks maybe would cost $30,000. I mean, it's not even tricked out. It's not even like there's nothing like
Yeah, and
cool about it. Like,
I was gonna say, and like, I mean, and even with that, $100,000 for a nice car, sadly, isn't that much today.
no, but for that kind of like a Land Rover, it just looked. I
Yeah,
mean, it looked like an old Land Rover from like 10 years ago. Like it didn't even look like a brand new,
yeah,
brand new Land Rover. But yeah, in his mind, he couldn't leave it behind because I guess he thought someone would like steal it while he's gone for some reason. I don't know why, but okay. And so he insisted that he drive which again is the main reason why, is because the movie needed that thing to happen in order for the rest of the movie to make sense, so they couldn't do it without that. Well, it's true. They just couldn't do it without
no,
that. They needed that. So they're driving, and then they end up like this weird, like purple electricity stuff, like hits the car, and it like makes the car like veer off into like the sand or whatever. And they're like trying to check out like what's going on. And then like they end up realizing that like there's like signs for like Hollywood or something like that, but there's like no land, or there's like
yeah,
nothing.
their
It's
phones
all
aren't
like,
working and
yeah,
everything. So yeah,
it's all like barren desert type of stuff, Nevada, I think Reno, Nevada. So it's like,
yeah,
Nevada has a lot of those kind of, things, like canyons and whatnot, or, things like that. And
and-
so, and so Susan sees a guy kind of looking at him from a little bit far away. And she's like, she basically just wants to like bang this guy. So like, she just goes running after him, asking for like directions or whatever, but then she's like, we could do more than just talk if you want to, and all this kind of stuff. And then once she realizes that he's like some weird mutant looking dude or whatever, then she starts getting all creeped out about it. And then his companion shows up and he's like, we don't want to be around here or whatever. Then they just end up like bolting together out of there or whatever. It
yeah.
was
And the
weird.
one note I made, I didn't make, but I made in my head, I guess, is that I mean, because later we find out this is 2121 AD.
Mhm.
And I think it's interesting that these guys are wearing blue jeans with patches on them, and this is supposed to be an apocalyptic movie, and they've got like they look like Levi's or Wrangler or something, and
Well, yeah,
it's just
were preserved, and then so no. And then and so we had this thing. So Michael was like a really mean guy in this movie, and we'll find out later more stuff that happens.
Oh yeah, I mean
due to
earlier
his-
he had proposed to Maria, and basically it seemed like he did it to get her to sleep with him, but I don't know.
Yeah, or at the very least, have her under his control or whatever.
Yeah.
And and like so Jonathan, he's like quote unquote like the beta male of the story, but like progressively he kind of becomes more of like a protagonist somewhat in the story. Whereas Michael just thinks more and more into his cruelty and misogyny, and Jonathan kind of
Michael is quite possibly the most annoying character I've ever seen in a film.
Oh, I know. He was way over the top, and like Jonathan, like becomes a little bit more strong-willed. He's still like a nerdy, like he doesn't like change personality, anything like that. But it was interesting to see like those two characters kind of veer off in different directions. Whereas, with Michael, it was really just going further down the path he was already on in the first place. Whereas Jonathan was kind of going on like a completely new trajectory, and like not just being like a push around, type of guy or whatever, which ended up actually saving his life by the end of the movie. I know we're kind of jumping around here, but so eventually, what's that?
I don't think it matters really.
It doesn't really matter. So, they get kidnapped by these women. The men are separated from the women of the group, and the men are put in like a jail, like a makeshift jail cell, and guarded heavily by like 3 different women guards. Yeah. And then the leader of the group, her name is I think Auriana, tells them like what's going on, like, hey, women rule the world now. Although it turns out later on that's not completely true, because there's a faction of men who have their own like little kingdom going on. So whatever. And then
so the title lied to me.
It did lie to you. Yes, it is, because women do not actually run the entire world. They have these enclaves.
All right, I quit.
Yeah, and there's also an enclave of men, a men's faction.
I don't trust titles. Next thing you're going to tell me is that there's not actually wars in the stars in the Star Wars.
No.
Oh.
And sadly, she does not have Michael's head, in her hand or whatever.
No.
That never. There were no decapitations in this movie whatsoever. I checked.
We ever really find out what was eating Gilbert Grape? I'm just trying to figure out titles here. Like if they ever are truthful.
Some kind of parasite, maybe. I don't know. And then no, I don't know. That's terrible. I got worms though. And speaking of worms, I'll tell you later. There's another movie I want to review sometime if you're into it. Probably for Halloween, because it's like a Halloween kind of movie. But anyway, so she basically explains to him like, hey, we control things now. We hate you guys, but we kind of need you, to get us pregnant and shit like that. So here's what we do: is like we have you guys fight to the death, and whoever. Or not fights to the death, but whoever wins, he gets to like mate with one of our women in order to get them pregnant. And so Michael, of course, was all jazzed up about that. He's like, yeah, and so, but he wins the first fight, but he wins in a really cowardly manner. And like, I really thought this was actually decent acting by the actors, because like all the women like just looked at him with utter contempt after he won the match. And the reason why he won the match is that he told the guy to look behind him, and then he punched him in the balls. And then and they're just like, really? Like, that's such a bitch way to win a fight. Like, we all know, like, there's like an instinctive rule. Like, if you get in a fight with a guy, you don't hit him in the balls. Like, it's like, even if you win, it's like a cheap win. You know what I mean? Like, because no one respects you, and you probably don't even respect yourself, really. But Michael's, rare breed. So,
well, it is a good metaphor for his like love of Trump, because that's something Donald Trump would do.
It is, because it's a cheap shot. It's what it is. But like nobody respects it. Like literally nobody respects that whatsoever.
Convicted felon Donald Trump, by the way, convicted felon.
Oh yeah, felon. That's right, convicted felon.
34 times over. 34 times.
Yeah.
Convicted felon Donald Trump.
Right.
34 times.
Yep. Really? How many times? 34. Oh yeah.
34.
Yeah. Yep. Sadly, nothing's gonna happen from it, but whatever. It was nice to.
Who knows? Nice. I don't know when this episode will air, but it might be after the sentencing. But we'll find out. So.
Yeah, we will find out. But I'm not giving my heart that on much. But that's fine. It's fine. It was nice to have a day of making fun of him and stuff like yeah, and stuff. So
That's
that was at least we had that. We get little treats here in America
yes.
nowadays.
You know,
Little treats like that.
Roe versus
Not
Wade was overturned, and
yeah,
people are trying to ban trans people everywhere in the country, and
yeah.
and stuff like that. But Donald Trump is a 34-time felon.
Yeah, and it's like I keep saying the word treat again, like it's the buttercream game where they keep saying treats. Like,
Yeah.
the guy at the store has a Donald Trump felon treat, and you can just pick
Yes.
it up or steal it because the guy Pete stole a lot of stuff from
Uh,
his former community
Yeah.
because he joined the mean streets of Chicago. It was at a game. That's another movie, but
Yeah.
that's a whole other movie that we
If
reviewed
you're
once.
fans of our show, you know that already. And check out our T Public, and you can get yourself a Buttercream Gangs of New York T-shirt.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. I forgot about that. That's right. Buttercream Gauge of New York. And so Michael ends up thinking that he could pick the woman to mate with because one of them kind of winked at him because I think she liked him for some reason. Sure why she would, but like, I don't know, whatever. And then, but no, they already had one like lined up for him. And it was this woman, and she's like, are you here to teach me about love or whatever? And he's like, I guess so. And so they end up mating, and like he wants to cuddle afterwards, and she's like slaps him in the arm when he was trying to like hold her shoulder or some shit like that. And then she ends up just walking away because the whole point was just like the meat basically. And oh yeah, that's the other thing too. They called it mersing. Is that like a real word, or is that just a word that they came up with for the movie?
I am not sure.
Because they kept saying, your reward is the right to mersing or for mersing or whatever. And we're like, okay. And then like, but what I don't understand, so here is what I don't understand. Now I'm getting kind of weird here. So so the whole point was like they technically need male people to mate with the women in order for them to get pregnant and like to keep the population level going on. Okay, that's understandable. But then later on at one point they were talking about how they implanted a uterus into a man, and then the man was pregnant with child. The real reason why is because they're like, well, we don't want women to like ruin their bodies by having to bear children or something like that. So it's like, so which is it? Are you getting the women pregnant or are you getting the men pregnant? Like, they didn't really explain that one. Anyway, what else happens?
How would you spell mersing?
I was assuming it would be MERS, not CING.
Like MERCING, because there's there's a Urban Dictionary word. It's either mersing or merking. I'm not really sure, but it's spelled MERCING, and it's a word that means absolutely destroying something. Damn, Johnny is just mersing in Call of Duty right now is the example.
I think it would be murking because sometimes they say a merc is like a murder victim.
Yeah. But then there's also murking with a K, which comes from the root word of murk, and it means killing, beating, or murdering. That's another Urban Dictionary. So I don't know. So, yeah.
They may have made up a term for the movie or something like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, what else happens? Because I'm kind of hogging this whole thing here.
Yeah. So at some point, there's something to do with like crystals.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That can control people and shoot things and then give me nightmares later. I mean, I'm serious actually about this. So,
really?
I had a dream the night I watched this movie.
Right. Okay.
Where I was shooting these crystals I had in my pocket at people and trying to destroy them like they were like a magic wand or something. Like I was Harry Potter or something going, I don't know what the hell I was doing, but there was people chasing me, and then it was really scary.
Wow.
I thought they were going to kill me, and then I woke up. So, and at one point I was trying to get the crystal out of my pocket, and I couldn't get it out in time to prevent the person, but then I woke up. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yes. So, so basically we have this we have this point where Michael helps Jonathan and some other guys escape the jail, and they end up going over to the guy's little area, the enclave of guys that's around too. So this movie was weird, man. So I'm trying to remember because it's been a couple days since I've seen it. So they while hanging out with the guys, they end up meeting an android. This really tall guy.
Yep.
Named what is his name? His name is
Herbert.
Is it
It's
Herbert?
Yeah, it's Herbert, the robot.
Yeah, like every good robot, Herbert the robot, played by
It's pretty
Steve
cool.
Bellflower. But yeah.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool character though.
Yeah, it was. He's beating Jonathan at chess really easily, and he said he learned it from Bobby Fischer.
Right.
Yes. Oh yeah, we explain why the world is the way it is?
Oh no, I forgot about that. What was it? Was it
Yeah.
like
So there was a scene that basically they're talking about all these men that have destroyed the world throughout history, you know, like your Hitlers and your Stalins and whatnot, and Donald Trump and Putin. And I guess that Donald Trump and Putin basically had a dick measuring contest, and then somehow that led to Donald Trump pressing the button and basically destroying the world. So that's what we got to look forward to for 34-time felon Donald Trump if he gets back in office. This movie will become a documentary.
I hope not.
Yes. So, oh God. Donald Trump sucks. Anyway, so basically, so that's how the world ended up in this apocalyptic, state. We've got but basically we've got this whole thing where they realize that this main guy that's hanging out with the guys, the kind of leader of the guy people, is basically in love with the main girl, and they used to be together before there was some kind of schism or something. So but she can control him with her laser crystals, and
Yep, sort of.
Basically, make him stand down, and I think a part of it has to do with the fact that he loves her. And
so it makes me kind of wonder though. So when women rule the world, and they both look pretty young, so did this new society just start like 5 or 10 years ago in the timeline of the movie? Because well, how did this work out? Like they both look pretty young, and
they talk about like throughout the world there's women ruling everybody too or something, not just there, that like there's little pockets throughout the world of women ruling people and stuff. And I'm
how
just like,
would you know this though?
Yeah,
there's no
they don't seem to have like any technology. There's not like televisions or internet or anything.
It's just crystals. That's it. That's like the one.
Well, they did have something that showed like the little history of the world where we learned about Donald Trump and his dick measuring contest. Yeah.
Oh right. I thought that was just for our benefit, but yeah, maybe they had like a freaking demo reel. That was the other thing too. So like they're trying to convert Maria in order to like integrate her into like their society, basically.
Yeah,
it's one part of the plot too. Is that they're trying to like turn her against the men, but she doesn't really buy into that.
Yeah,
go ahead.
They basically keep trying to get her. They end up getting her to like have sex with them, sort of in a really awkward scene where it was obviously straight women in a lesbian love scene, and I'm sorry.
I totally forgot about that scene. I don't even remember it.
But that's what it felt like.
Wow.
Because basically the leader of the women is basically trying to, I think, seduce Maria in some way, through that, and basically trying to prove that, you don't need men, for anything other than procreation. And that might be true. Who knows? I don't know. But yeah, so with the help of the Herbert the robot, John is trying to escape and everything, but eventually Maria gets to John at some point, and Michael takes off, and he's trying to gather all these crystals so he can basically rule the world, because these crystals are important somehow. I'm not really sure.
They are, but we don't know exactly why there's so many of them and why they're super important, but they are apparently. With Michael, he hated that at first, but then once he escaped, he joined the men's faction, and then he ended up like raping this woman that he kidnapped, I suppose. And then that he wanted to do it again to more people. Cool guy. Yep.
It's the misogynistic greatness of MAGA chuds. And
his idol Trump, his idol. Yeah. Oh, that reminded me for a quick second. In the beginning, he tried to grab her crotch and he said something like, "Oh, come on, that's what Trump does," or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, "Whoa!" Like, so yeah.
See, that's the thing with it too. It's like I'm all for being, like anti-Trump and everything and stuff like that, but this movie is not subtle by any means, and it's
No, no,
it's
it's not. It's
so
not at all. No, it's not.
like the satire is just like, you see what we did there, like the whole
Yeah,
time.
no, there's no like even the people who like think like Archie Bunker was like the good guy in the show, or Al Bundy or whatever. Even those people could see this movie and be like, okay, I know exactly what they're trying to say.
Yeah, because like I get that they were probably trying to cater to a left wing audience and stuff, which I'm fine with that, whatever you want to cater to. But it's like I don't even know if a left wing audience can deal with the over the topness of this movie,
No,
because
I mean like
it's not done in like a clever satirical way like Saturday Night Live or other things that do satire in a better way,
yeah, no, I was thinking the same thing because I could never understand what they were trying to say with the movie. I would, if I'm being very, very generous, I would say they were subverting expectations, but that's assuming that they were good enough at what they were doing in order to actually
Yeah, 'cause
try that.
I don't know what the message is. I don't know what the message is. That's
No,
the other. Yeah, it's
right. So
it's like I said this when I was watching it to you, that it kind of reminded me of of Barbie,
a little bit.
the Margot Robbie Barbie movie, where it was trying to make a point about women and stuff like that, and like in a society, and also trying to make a point about how people need to live together. We can't just have a society run by men or a society ran by women. But obviously, it did not do it with the same tact as the Barbie movie. So
No, well, even the Barbie movie kind of got weird with that because
yeah.
they're like at the very end, they're like, "Oh, now the men can't be on the Supreme Court; they can only be." And they're like, "So you just didn't get your own message? Like, what was that all about? Like the whole
Well, no,
point?"
they took them off, but then they said something about how they're going to have elections now and make it
Well,
fair
no,
for.
no. There's one point where the guy said something like, "Oh, maybe I did go. Well, you got to start somewhere or something like this." Something I'll try to find a clip one these days, but like it was
Yeah,
basically implied that like the men are like second class citizens all over again, and but that's somehow a good thing because women power. And like, okay, but it kind of goes against what you're saying. But okay, but
yeah.
again, we
I
shouldn't
don't know.
be
That's not
watching
how I read
Barbie.
it, but I guess that might be.
Okay,
I don't know.
I'll try to find the clip again and see
Yeah,
what I was saying, because to me that's what it kind of felt like they were trying to say. Because like I don't
yeah.
know, whatever. But again, we shouldn't be like looking to Barbie movies for feminist discourse. We should be
No.
reading like I don't know Judith Butler, other authors, people who've actually had their whole lives doing this, not a Barbie movie or this
Oh,
weird
no.
2020.
When I look for my discourse on women, I don't go to a Barbie movie. I go to a Bratz movie. No, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's much better. It's much more newer, more radical critique of the patriarchy. Totally. No, yeah, you really got. If you're on the cutting edge, you really got to watch the Bratz movie. They'll really set you straight.
That or Monster High or something. I
Oh
gotta
yeah, totally. Yeah. No,
other dolls. But
yeah, but with this message, it made it seem like at first that like we were supposed to think it's like a good thing that the women like have the men enslaved and cut off their balls. That's the other thing too; they eat
yeah,
their testicles. And like that was almost seen as like awesome because men are terrible and we should be able to do anything we want to them. Women power. Woo! But then it was like near the halfway through to like, oh, maybe they are the villains, and then it was like, but then the men's faction came in.
they have the scene where they give Maria like meat to eat, and it's like it's human meat, and then they're trying to make like some kind of like commentary on, I guess, on like the fact that we eat animal meat or something.
Yeah, it made that point. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was weird. And like
yeah,
she's like throwing up, retching, and they're just like laughing at her the whole time. Haha, isn't that funny? I'm like, not really. It's not funny at all. Like you're making someone vomit who
yeah.
apparently is supposed to be like your potential new recruit, and you're not really treating her very well.
Yeah, and then she goes off and she finds Jonathan, like I was saying, and after Michael had gone off to collect all the all the crystals like they were Pokemon or something, and the basically they need these crystals. We find out from Herbert the robot that you need these crystals, and then it can like you put them, you just kind of like set them on top of your engine, and
I know it's so stupid.
and that'll make you go faster. And then
Yeah.
then he could travel back to 2020, and
Yeah, the glorious year of 2020. I would rather just stay in 21 at that point.
I know.
And just trying to get used to the way things are. At least then like you don't have any surprises. Like
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, this movie came out like in late 2020, which it's like, was this made? Did they, when they made it? I don't know if it was shot in 2020, but like COVID was happening. I'm like,
so I was wondering about that too. Maybe they did it. Maybe they did it in 2019 and then didn't
yeah,
release
before COVID really
it.
hit, like, because I was like, I don't know how they could have filmed this movie during COVID, but
Right.
maybe
Yeah.
because it was shot out in the middle of nowhere, and I don't know, just.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't really look into like the when it was actually.
There's not much information online that I could find about this movie, so I
Not
mean,
much.
more than some, but what's that?
I said there's not much you could find.
No. But anyways, this so finally they defeat Michael at one point. Oh yeah, earlier, by the way, Susan was killed.
Oh yeah, I
during a
totally
battle.
forgot about
Yeah.
poor Susan.
Yeah. I mean, she was kind of like the female Michael in a way though too, so it was like, I'm
She was
glad
kind of a dick. She was,
Yeah.
yeah. She
Yeah.
was like that's why her and Michael probably liked each other so much because they were very similar
Yeah.
in personality and
Did Michael end up dying? I couldn't remember.
well, so I don't really know because I know the guy faction they pretty much like beat him up and dragged him because he was like too radical for them even because like they really weren't into like the raping and pillaging and shit. They were more of just like trying to. Well, no, I guess they did because they did kidnap some of the women, but they rescued some of the men. So I think for them it may have been like a revenge thing where they're like, well,
Yeah.
they've been oppressing our people, so I guess we'll just take a few of their people type of thing. Which
Maybe they were okay with the kidnapping, but not the rape. I don't know.
yeah,
So,
I don't know. Well, I don't know because it looked like at one point the guy was gonna rape Maria at one point, I think.
oh, okay.
But then he decided not to at the last minute and just let her go. So I don't know
Yeah.
what that was all about. That's kind of weird. But like lots of sexual violence in this movie on both sides. Not good. Stuff
No.
like that. And Jonathan, like sorry, go ahead. I kinda interrupted you.
Oh no, I was just saying. So I know that Jonathan and Maria you kind of get this vibe that they kind of like each other now. And they want to get back to 2020, and they defeat Michael somehow and get all the crystals. I can't remember what happened.
They got the crystals, and I think Michael at one point had like one of those weapons and tried to shoot him. I think, but eventually I think he couldn't get him or whatever, and then the guys end up like taking him away, and then they end up putting the crystals in their car engine, which somehow is supposed to allow them to. I don't get that part. I don't get it.
They just laid them up on top of it, like like there's sprinkles on a cupcake or something. I mean, I don't know what the fuck was going on there.
I don't know why that would work, or why. The other thing too is like why if Auriana knew this, then why does she never try to go back in time and like change things where women could rule the world, but there's still modern technology,
Yeah.
so they weren't. Like,
and stop the apocalypse.
Right.
But
no,
maybe they
she's
needed a car to do it, and they didn't have a car.
oh, that's right. Yeah, you need a Land Rover. I forgot. Yeah. It only works if you got a Land Rover, $100,000.
Yeah, it's just like the DeLorean in Back to the Future. There's only one mode of transportation. I mean, no, but
Yeah. So, but when they get back, they've passed out at this point, and then the police come to check on them, and then Jonathan does say though that Michael and Susan were dead, but they never actually confirmed Michael's death. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe they just presumed he was because like the guy faction took him away.
Well,
like,
then there's going to be the sequel where they end up going to like 2130 or something, and Michael's the new president of the world or something.
God, oh. That'd be terrible.
It's going to be called When Michael Ruled the World or whatever.
God, I really hope that.
Yeah.
No, I hope they put him in his place at the very least and prison him in that little kill cell. Oh yeah, I forgot though too. Eventually, the men's and the women's faction finally make peace with each other. I forgot about that part.
Uh-huh.
That was a good part of it.
Yeah, they make peace and looks like they're about to make love too. And they all start like hooking up.
Well, that's what made me wonder if these were all former lovers of each other,
Yeah,
and then now they're like reunited with each other, type of thing,
it could be. And then John and Maria get back to 2020, and they're like in the middle of like a street somewhere, like in Las Vegas or Los Angeles or something, and
Yeah,
these cops
those are
are
weird.
looking for the car for some reason that disappeared, and they see those two in there, and you don't even really know what happens after that.
You don't. And why would they be looking for that particular car? And why would they even be looking for these four people as if they're like super important people? Like,
Yeah,
just because you don't show up to an event doesn't mean you
and
like take a
they couldn't have been
nationwide.
missing that many days. It's like,
No, there were like a day maybe or something like that. It's like, why, like, when these people are so big that, like, because they didn't, like, respond to anyone's calls, they're like, oh, we need a
I mean,
nationwide
I've
manhunt.
been watching a lot of true crime documentaries and stuff lately, and sometimes when these people that are murdered or whatever are presumed missing at first, like takes them like a few days for the police to even give a shit. Like, oh, she probably just ran away, or she just got sick of life and decided to leave her kids and her husband randomly one day, or whatever. So that's how they act.
Yeah,
It's like so stupid.
yeah, quit bothering us. No, we're all good.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
okay, fine.
yeah. No, nobody killed your wife and mother. It's just she just decided that she was, sick of being around her devoted kids and her loving husband, and just randomly, up and left
Sure,
one day. Yeah,
makes sense. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, boy,
I-
so that's our movie basically.
yeah. It's basically it.
I have much really. I mean, just like few minor details that we probably missed, but
Yeah.
not much.
I mean, it was interesting. It might be maybe a good double feature with Barbie, and
Instead of Barbenheimer, you just watch these movies back to back. But you watch Barbie first, and then you gotta watch
yeah,
this afterwards to really like bring you down. Like it's like
yeah, because Oppenheimer will bring you up though. You watch that one afterwards because that's just a happy-go-lucky movie about atomic bomb.
yeah. Or you
Oh,
should do a mashup. You just play both movies at the same exact time. And
maybe they
just like
line up like that Pink Floyd album in the Wizard of Oz or something. It's
I
just
remember that theory.
yeah.
I tried that once, and it didn't really seem like it did anything. Like it didn't seem.
I've found that if you play the Wizard of Oz with Weird Al Yankovic's second album, I'm joking. No, I don't know. Just
Well, plus two, Dark Side of the Moon is like 42 minutes long.
yeah, but
And
you're supposed to start playing it at a certain point in the movie or something. Or
oh, I see. Not the beginning. Okay.
yeah,
I was gonna say, I'm like,
I can't
you
remember,
just
but yeah,
twice to
yeah.
match the whole movie because the movie's
Oh
like
yeah,
hours long or something.
man, I love the Wizard of Oz. Sorry,
Good movie.
look,
No, it
I was
is.
just
It's
thinking
a
about
really
it.
good movie.
I love that movie for some reason, even though there was a lot of shit going on. Someday we should dive into the behind the scenes of the Wizard of Oz and how horrible people were treated on that movie. My
Sounds
favorite.
good.
One of
Yeah,
my
go-
favorite facts about that movie is of the main cast of the movie, only one character was paid less than Judy Garland. And guess who that was?
I don't know.
Toto.
The dog.
Yeah, all the guys got paid more than her.
Of
She was
course.
under contract and basically had to do the movie and couldn't ask for a raise or anything. But almost every other actor in that movie was making more money than her,
Of course.
and she's the fucking star.
Yeah,
It's just
exactly.
disgusting. So
Yeah, and then wonder why people like complain about stuff like that. It's like, yeah, because of historical injustices like that. That's why.
yeah,
And it's not something you just like want to complain about like at random. Like that shit happened. And also too, did they like give her like speed and shit and
oh
like
yeah,
got her
she
Like,
was treated like shit.
yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, there's yeah, I think I want to do like a deep dive into Judy Garland sometime. I mean, it would just be an interesting side quest for our podcast, but it would be interesting.
Uh, yeah.
But
Also too, the guy who wrote Wizard of Oz was like a crazy ass racist too, and like
what the book or the
yeah, sorry, the book, yeah.
I don't know, was he?
I thought he was like super like anti-Native American, like calling
I
them
don't
like
know.
Sam.
I don't know. He
That.
might have been. He might have been, but I know that the producer of the film was a piece of shit and other things too. So
Oh, really?
yeah, yeah, I'd have to look more into L. Frank Baum. The most I know about him is from the the docudrama where John Ritter played him.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. But anyways, back to the topic at hand. Yeah. When Women Rule the World was the greatest film I've ever seen. And no, really, no. But anything else you want to say about it?
Yeah, like when this is my advice, because we're an advice podcast now, and so my advice is to when you see a historical injustice that is still currently going on in various forms and phases, when you try to rectify those injustices, don't go on like the opposite extreme where you become the villains, which in this movie it was the women, because they were like literally eating testicles and imprisoning men and making them fight for their life in order to make, like, don't go that far. Like go to like equality, and then you like stick with that, right? Like don't go into the because I understand the temptations that you want revenge. Granted, okay. But maybe get a little revenge. That's okay. A little revenge treat. That's fine here and there. But don't overload on treats, because if you do, your stomach's gonna get sick. You're not gonna feel good. You can feel icky. You know, like you can't eat candy all day long. You know what I mean? That's kind of like, that's my advice.
I mean, you can, but you'll get sick. Yeah.
You can.
Like, anyways, that's some good advice there. You know.
Thank you.
And this has been Advice with Sesame. Anyway, so folks, just some other advice here is go to all2real2.com and check out all of our links there to our social media, to everything else. Make sure you subscribe to the show. You know, subscribe. Just subscribe.
Do it.
Yeah, do it. And share the show. Give us a 5-star review. That would help out immensely. I mean, it's the best way to help get us, shared to more people that might like the show. Also, check out our TeePublic. We got some merchandise there that'll help us support the show, and our Patreon. That's very important. I think that's good. Walk down the street, tell every man, woman, and child to listen to All Too Real 2. And if they look at you weird, that's okay. It's all good.
It's all good.
Yes, it's all good in the hood. And just remember that I love you. Michael Bray is the most annoying character I've ever seen in a movie. Sesame loves you. Free Palestine. And until next time, bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to All Too Real 2 podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Hawes. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.